Everybody's different.
We come from different places. And we all want different things. I want to grow my career.
I want to make a difference.
I want my research to have an impact. But we all have one thing in common.
We want to be somewhere we can fulfill our ambition. Not just a graduate business school, but a global community full of people who want to go further.
Push harder. Achieve more.
Do things differently.
With the faculty producing cutting-edge research that's making a difference.
Changing how we think.
A community that's making its mark on Ireland and the world.
At Ireland's highly ranked and triple accredited business school, offering internationally recognised MBA and Business Masters programmes. Distinctively located in Dublin, one of the friendliest, most exciting cities in the world. And home to the world's leading companies. A local campus with a global network of alumni, where students connect with industry leaders and each other.
Where faculty address the biggest problems of today, creating real solutions for the real world. We'll all end up with different careers.
In different places.
Making an impact in business and society.
We're all different.
But we'll always have one thing in common.
UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. Creating a better future.
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining this session where you already saw a great introduction to the UCD Smurfit School in Dublin. It might be you studying there next year, who knows. But before we go over to hear all about the MBA program, I'm going to explain a little bit about the interactive options that we have for you in store. So you join in to hear how it is to launch your MBA journey, and you might have some questions. You can write these questions at any time through the panel at the bottom, at the right bottom. It's called questions. And if you write them there, then we will be able to answer them live in the session, and we will do so at the end, after the presentation. You also can say where you're from, by the way, in the chat. So I see already people are doing that. That's just great to see all the people that are joining in from all the different countries. And also throughout the session, we will open up a couple of polling questions. So watch out for those as well. And last but not least, we actually have a little fun React button. It's at the bottom. You can find a button called React. And if you click on that, you can give your reaction of your choice. If you like something, yes, that's the one. Just to make it a little bit more fun, and especially for the presenters to have some interaction with you. So great to see that. Well, without further ado, let's go over to the presenters. And we will start off with Yola Mar. She will introduce herself and the students, and then we will start with the presentation.
Thank you so much, Luke. Hello, everyone. How are you? Lovely to see all the enthusiastic audience. Thank you for all the thumbs up. I'm thrilled and delighted to welcome everyone at today's session. My name is Yola Mar, and in my role here in Smurfit School, I look after all international students. So I basically support students from the moment you inquire about a program here in the Smurfit School, and throughout your journey, before you join the school and after you become a student. I look after students, I organize events. I basically ensure that your journey in Ireland and in UCD is very smooth. So what I'm going to pass over to our lovely student panel, to Timmy, to say hello and introduce himself. Timmy, over to you.
Thank you so much, and good day, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be today. I'm Timmy, a full-time MBA student, 2023-2024 class, originally from Canada, but spent most of my life in Nigeria, and looking forward to having conversations with you interactively today. Thank you so much, Yola.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Li Jin Cheng. I'm from China, and I'm a full-time MBA student now in UCD Smurfit, and I'm happy to be here. Dublin is not my first country abroad, because before I embark on my MBA journey, I stay and live in more than 10 cities in the European countries. So I'm happy to be here.
Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. My name is Mairead Mulvey. I'm the MBA Admissions Manager here at UCD Smurfit, and I'd like to welcome you all here today to hear about our MBA programme and moving to Dublin or thinking of Ireland, and why we'd love you to join us here. As my colleagues have said, there's a question and answer box that you're more than welcome to put in any question at all during the session, during the presentation, and then we'll have a live session at the end, and you can direct your questions to all of the panel or one of us or whoever is most relevant. So once again, we'll start with the presentation, and thank you for joining us today. Okay, so as I said, we have gone through the introductions. I'm Mairead. You've met my colleague Yola. You've met our lovely current students, and as I said, we've introduced those. So we'll just, sorry, excuse me now. We'll just, I'm so sorry about this. Wait now. Perfect. Thank you so much. So, as you may or may not know, UCD is in the top 1% of universities worldwide. Specifically at our business school in Smurfit, we have what we call Triple Crown accreditation, and that's where we're accredited by 3 of the most significant accreditation bodies globally, and they're AACSB, AMBA, and EQUIS. Now, they cover America, the UK, and Europe. The point of having this Triple Crown accreditation is it means that our programs, obviously including the MBA, is internationally, there's a huge international recognition. And then, by the by, we are Ireland's top ranked university. We're actually the largest university in Ireland, but we're also the top ranked university. So it's always good to know when you're choosing a business school or a university to come to where they rank in significance in terms of their competitors, essentially. We are also, in terms of our rankings, we're consistently ranked within the top 50 of Financial Times, QS, and the Economist accreditations. Now, in terms of business school, these accreditations are really important, particularly the Financial Times and the Economist. So once again, just to give you that oversight of where we are in relation, as I said, to there's, I think, 15,600 business schools across the globe. So it's good to know that you're in one of the top 50, essentially. For those of you, just to give an oversight, I suppose, to Ireland and Dublin, where exactly we are and where our campus is, if you're not familiar. As you probably know, Ireland is over on the western side of Europe. We're the last country before America, or the United States. So we're often thought of as a stepping stone, I suppose, between the USA on one side, and then we have the UK and we have Europe on the other side. So we're very strategically located in terms of potentially starting your career, or you're having your studies and starting your career in Ireland. And then with the view, potentially, if you wanted to get over to the US or into Europe, work in Europe, subsequently, we're very close by, and we have strong links, I suppose, with all our neighbours being part of the EU and so forth. In terms of Dublin, we are on the east coast. You can see Dublin there on the east side of the map. The red area that is marked, that's our city centre. So that's the actual city. The population of Dublin itself, the population of Ireland, should I say, I'll start with that, is about 5 million. And Dublin is our capital city, and we have about 1.5 million people. So it's compared to other capital cities, it's quite small and it's quite local, and it's a very safe place. It's also really nicely located. We're on the coast, so we have the sea on one side and we actually have the Dublin Mountains on the other side. So there's a lot of natural amenities, and there's kind of, accessible transport. Nothing is too far away, and it's easy to navigate. So as you can see, the red part is the city centre. The blue area that you can see shaded in, that's our UCD main campus. Now that's about 20 minutes from the city centre. And in terms of the actual size, you can see that it's very significant and it's a very big campus. So that's what we call Belfield. And then the business school, the Smurfit Business School, is a standalone. It has its own dedicated campus. So a lot of people have even compared it to Harvard, where it's, a standalone campus on its own. It's made up of very historical buildings. There's been a lot of investment into the buildings more recently. And, there's a lot of state-of-the-art technology in terms of the theatres and the equipment that's used. And we'd like to think we're as innovative and progressive as it's possible to be and keep up with everything that's happening in terms of teaching methods. As you can see, it's about an 8-minute journey from the UCD main campus to the Smurfit campus. And as a student of Smurfit, you can use all the facilities. There's really amazing sports facilities, and there's loads and loads of clubs. There's so many clubs and societies in UCD. We have a shuttle bus that goes up and down, but in actual fact, it's very near. There's lots of ways to get up there. So just to give you a little oversight of the context of the geography of Ireland and our campus and how far everything is. These are just some pictures of Smurfit. As I said, it's a very historical building, and it used to be a convent actually at one stage, and then it was a teaching school to teach for actually educating teachers, and obviously more recently it's our business school. We have so many student services. We have lots of facilities on campus. You've already met Yola, who's our international student liaison. We have a student advisor. We've lots of support services, which I'll actually talk about, as we go through the presentation. But as you can see, it's a really beautiful campus. There's lots of green, lots of greenery. There's trees. As I said, we're probably about a 5 or 6 minute walk to the sea. So, when you need to get away and take a break from your studies and regroup, it's always nice to go down and get a little bit of sea air and enjoy some peace and quiet. Okay, we'll just move along a little bit more about Ireland. When you're choosing a business school, I would suggest it's not important enough just to choose the business school. You need to look at the country. It's not separate. They're one and one in terms of you're not going to go to a business school in a country that you're not comfortable with. And one of the things that we completely stand over, I suppose, is that, we're a very safe and stable country. We have very stable government. There's no political unrest. We're a safe country. It's quite localized because we're quite small. And then the other, I suppose, significant factor in terms of coming to study here and, do your MBA essentially, is that you would potentially, most of our students will potentially be looking at career opportunities afterwards and how the economy is. So we are Europe's fastest growing economy for the past 5 years. Which is really something that's outstanding and that we're very proud of. There's still a very positive outlook on the economy at the moment, even though, globally things are very uncertain. We're predicting economic growth to be still 5.5% this year. We had 7.5% in 2022 and 16.1% in 21, which was during COVID, which was unparalleled essentially. So we're still growing. There's still a lot of economic investment coming in. And we have a lot of foreign direct investment essentially, and we're very attractive to multinationals and companies looking at Ireland. And that's been historic for the past 35 years, and it's continuing essentially. It hasn't diminished at all. Our unemployment rate is negligible. It's 3.8%, which is what would be deemed negligible. So we're at the stage where we need to invite workers to come and support our economy. Some of you may be familiar. You may have friends or colleagues that have critical skills visas that we give to, as I said, invite workers to come in to support our economy and keep that growth rate going. But in terms of you coming to do your MBA here in Dublin and subsequently, you know, fulfill your career aspirations, it kind of points to there are a lot of opportunities. So that's something that's very important, I would suggest, to consider when you're thinking of, you know, what business school you should come to and what MBA you should study. Just a little bit more on that in terms of Dublin. It's, you know, colloquially known as the Silicon Valley of Europe. It's the main headquarters for, like, the European headquarters, should I say, for all the social media companies, so TikTok, LinkedIn, Meta, etc. But it also is the headquarters for, or there's a huge amount of, you know, pharmaceutical companies based in Ireland with their, again, their European headquarters here. We're heavily involved in medtech as well. So it's not just the kind of social media side, but it is well known for that. But again, it's seen as, you know, progressive and innovative, and we provide the type of environment economically and, as I said, politically to support these companies coming here, and that, you know, that they can make a success of what they're trying to achieve within their European side of the business. Then just a little bit more about Ireland. This is something slightly different, but some of you, probably all of you, are familiar with the phrase 6 degrees of separation. So in terms of what that means is all of us are 6 degrees, 6 points of contact separated from any other person in the world globally. That I might know somebody that knows somebody that knows someone, and then, you know, before you know it, you're Bill Clinton or Joe Biden or Macron or somebody. We're all connected over the whole the globe, essentially. However, the difference with Ireland is there's only 2 degrees of separation. Now, the reason for that is what I mentioned earlier in terms of we have a population of 5 million, so it's a pretty small country, and Dublin 1.5 million. So everybody's, you know, quite closely related, and there's an ease of access in terms of getting to know people and forming your network. And I know from students, you know, coming to Ireland and coming to Dublin to Smurfit to do their MBA, that's a huge part of why they come, because they want to develop a network. And because of our size and, as I said, the accessibility to people, and in terms of, you know, coming to Smurfit and forming your network, the way that we would see that happening, or the way that does happen, is, you know, initially through your own classmates, essentially. That's forming a network. Then there's other MBA students that are, you know, there's the part-time MBA students that are in the college that you would meet as well. That's widening out your network. But probably more importantly is there's a huge alumni that's attached to Smurfit. We're the oldest business school in Ireland, so we have a vast alumni that are located globally. So it's a global network. At the moment, it's about 107,000, and that's a huge resource to leverage off. You know, if you're thinking of like a specific career and you want to, you know, follow that, find people in that area that you have something in common with. And that's the whole point. If you're a Smurfit MBA graduate, the chances are you will find somebody, and everybody's very amenable. All our alumni are so amenable and engaged, and, you know, want to support each other, essentially. The other way of forming your network, and again, it's a really important point to consider in terms of Smurfit, is the industry connections that we have. So we have, as I said, we're the oldest business school with the strongest industry connections, simply because we've been doing it. The MBA is 60 years old next year, so we're a long time in business as such, and we have strong industry connections. And there is very much a recognition that somebody coming from Smurfit, be it a master's or an MBA, there is a recognition amongst industry leaders and employers in Ireland that's, you know, it's a very prestigious school and it's a very good quality qualification. And you have that, I suppose, you don't have to explain the context of that in Ireland. It's well known and it's well recognised. And again, there's, throughout your journey doing the MBA, there's lots of opportunities to meet potential employers. which I'll talk about subsequently as part of our LEAP program, and connections that you can make that way. So just in terms of networking, and as I said, forming your network, that's, you know, whatever business school you're thinking of going to, I would suggest that you think carefully about that and what matches, you know, your criteria in terms of what you want to achieve for yourself. Now, I'll just move on to some of the employers that our graduates work in. This is only, you know, literally a few of the employers that a lot of our graduates go to. But as you can see, a lot of consultancy companies and the tech companies, some pharma companies. But as I said, that's only the tip of the iceberg in terms of where our graduates go to work. Part of the offering that we have here in Smurfit, which is different from other business schools, is that we have a dedicated career team. You can see their photographs there. We have Kathy and Michael and Rita, and the lady on the right-hand side is Bernie Burke, and she is a dedicated career consultant, specifically and exclusively working with the MBA class. Now, she works with the part-time class, but you know, 70–80% of her time is spent supporting you in your MBA journey to establish your career, whatever, you know, whatever way you want to drive it. And she's there to help you and to identify maybe where you need to improve, or how we can help and get you to the place that you want to be. But she is a dedicated full-time resource working with the MBA class. And to give you an idea of the context of that, we have approximately 35 students, probably no more than 40 students in a class, which is a really nice number, because it means there's enough variety to bring a lot of diversity into the class, but it's also quite compact. And as I said, in terms of available resources that are specifically for the MBA class, you can see that if you have one person working with 35 people to over a year to help them on their career journey, you know, it's not going to be parallels in any other advisory capacity that you could get that externally, essentially. You know, it's a really, again, a really strong resource, and really something in terms of you should consider if you're thinking of coming to Smurfit. Now, a little bit just about, I'm going to touch on our curriculum that we have in the MBA. One of the other things that I think, again, I would recommend you consider, and you're probably all aware of this already, in terms of the length of time it takes to do an MBA. I mean, some of the universities around Europe, the leading ones, you know, some of them that they would have very good reputations, but they take up to 2 years and 4 months. I came across one there last week to do an MBA, full-time MBA, which is really long in terms of the investment in time and in fees and commitment, essentially. So one of the sweeter points about our MBA, it is very intense, which I know Timmy and Yun will testify to later, but it is over 1 year. And in over the course of 1 year, it's hard work. It's not easy, but you come out at the other end with a really, you know, high quality, prestigious MBA. And we're really proud of that we get people through that journey within that year. And as I said, be it from a financial point of view, a career point of view, a commitment point of view, a time point of view, you know, it works for everybody. So that's something that we're proud of. This is just a quick overview of the MBA curriculum. So the MBA starts at the end of August. There's a foundation week where, you know, you meet obviously your classmates, the academics, you familiarize yourself with the curriculum, start getting involved, you know, some of the modules actually start at that stage, but on a more of a gentle basis. There's some extracurricular activities. So there's a lot going on, and it's a nice introduction to your class, the MBA, and the campus. Then we have basically the year is over 3 trimesters. So we have the autumn semester, that's September to December. We have a spring semester from January to May, and then we have the summer semester from June to August. Now, as you can see there, the MBA is made up of lots of, in terms of our teaching methodologies, you know, there's lectures, there's guest speakers, there's, you know, group and project work. A huge emphasis of our particular MBA is based on peer-to-peer learning. And that's, you know, very important to the quality of the MBA and to the learning outcome. It basically enriches your learning outcome at the end of it. because what we do is we try to put together a class that's as diverse as possible. And I mean, in terms of nationality and culture and all the gender, all the obvious things, but also in terms of, where people are coming from in terms of sector, their sector or their professional background. So, there's no point being a group, say there's 6 of you in a group and you're all accountants, and you can learn so much from each other. But in order to really make that experience worthwhile and interesting and exciting, it's much better if we have an accountant and an engineer and maybe a doctor and somebody that works in FMCG, and put them all together. And then everybody has different strengths and weaknesses, has had different experiences, is on the program. They might be really good at strategy, but they need to learn more about marketing, or they're strong on finance and they need to know more about, negotiation. So in terms of learning from your colleagues in your class, that's a massive part of how we, as I said, enrich the learning outcome and use the experiences that our class, our students have to teach everybody else, but conversely, you learn from everybody else as well. And it's a really, really valuable resource. But we put a lot of effort and time into making sure that we optimize that for everybody as much as possible. So that's a little bit, as I said, about the MBA curriculum. All of this information is on our website. So if you do want to kind of read up a little bit more, please do. Or alternatively, and I'll be saying this at the end anyway, contact me at any stage if you have any queries or you want additional information or you need any clarification on the program or how it works or that end of things, essentially. So just going on to I've mentioned a couple of differences in terms of our program and the MBA or Welcome to Smurfit, but one of the things that really is unique to our program here in the MBA, and it is going back to the whole career aspect of, most people will do an MBA because they either want to pivot in their career or they want to elevate their career to the next, point. And it's usually potentially to the C-suite. Now, I wouldn't mislead anybody and say just because you do an MBA, suddenly you're going to be, on the board of directors in your company. Not necessarily, but it's certainly a stepping stone to getting there, in addition to probably other things that you need to do, or indeed, depending on your previous experience, maybe that's exactly what will happen. You will go in and you'll get a job at director level. But, we do need to be realistic as well. But a lot of people do want to pivot. They might be an engineer historically or a tech type person, and they want to go into consultancy and they want to work for EY or PwC. So, they're the kind of motivations that people generally come to us with in terms of their career aspirations. So in order to, facilitate that journey as seamlessly as possible and to support you in your journey as much as possible, we've developed a leadership and employability advancement program that is specific to Smurfit, and it's called LEAP, as you can see in an acronym. And basically that's to enable you to fulfill your career potential and supporting your leadership journey. Because the MBA is a lot, people who do an MBA, they do it because they want to be leaders. Now in UCD, what we want to do is want to create, global leaders that will contribute to, the world essentially, and to society, I suppose is what I mean, in whatever society they're in. And the way we do that is, I suppose, we want to develop people's skills and behaviours to the required MBA level. If you were going for a role at a certain level, if it's, a senior manager or a director role, and our career consultant, Bernie, she goes through assessments and employability centres with everybody, and she can gauge where you're at and then what we need to work on with you to bring you up to that level. But it's all around leadership. And what makes an effective leader, and so you can identify what it is that is necessary, then identify where, we'll help you identify where you're at in relation to those skills, and then we'll build those skills up with you during the course of the year, which is great because it's not just like the last, semester and, it's a token few weeks. This starts literally in the foundation week. And then, it's developed and built over the whole process of the year. And you come out, with a lot more self-awareness and self-knowledge and having elevated your skills. And basically built your employability. That's essentially what we're doing. We're trying to elevate your employability in terms of your own career aspirations and putting together a strategy for your job search as well. So it also includes, there's lots of networking events. There's opportunities to meet, potential employers. There's, employment fairs. There's one-to-one coaching in terms of your, basic stuff like your CV and interview preparation and all of that, but still one-to-one coaching, is a very valuable resource and one definitely that I would encourage everybody to take advantage of. And then, as I said, there's, mock interviews with potential employers, maybe PwC will come in and they'll interview everybody and then they'll give feedback. Now, it won't be a real interview, but the fact that you're getting that feedback that you wouldn't normally get if you did an interview with PwC and you didn't get the job and you were wondering what happened. And even if you asked for feedback, it might be a little bit vague, but you get very constructive, specific feedback with, material to work on. So it's when you do go for that live interview with, KPMG or wherever, PwC, you will, have elevated yourself to the level that, they require and you will know what they're looking for. So that's the type of exercises and modules that are conducted during the LEAP program. And again, it's something that we're really proud of, and we encourage everybody to make the most of it. And I know our students today, Leon and Timmy, will testify to that. A lot of your success on the MBA, because it's very intense, is down to how you get the most out of it. I wouldn't say to anybody, just come to spend a year in Dublin and, wander into the odd lecture. You're just wasting your time and you're wasting your money, go and spend your money doing something else, essentially. The thing is, we want students that come that are dedicated, that want to get the most value out of it, that want to make the most of it, that are very clear in their aspirations for their career. So that's, if you feel that, if you feel that you fulfill that criteria, like, we will welcome you on board 100% and would love you to apply. So just moving along now, just to give you a quick profile of our MBA class over the past few years and their career outcomes. You can see the GMAT, which we'll come to a little bit later on, is 680. That's the average score of our full-time MBA class. We have a good gender balance, about 47% female, 53% male. Now, that can vary year to year, but we do, again, make an effort to make that as balanced as possible. 80% of our class, the MBA full-time class, is international, coming from every country. I mean, there's a significant presence from India. As you can see, Lun is from China, Timmy is from Canada. We have Irish students. We have 6 or 7 Irish students on this year's class as well. So, we try, as I said, to make it as international as possible. In terms of employment or employability afterwards, you can see that 90% of our MBA graduates are employed within 3 months. And in general, after, it could be a year to 3 years, your salary will increase by approximately 74%. Now, obviously, that's an approximation and it depends on what industry you're in. But, that's a kind of guideline of what we would think you should expect to be doing. But that could be up to 3 years, after you leave, essentially. Just very quickly now, again, graduate employability. This is in Ireland. In QS terms, our graduate employability rankings, we are ranked number 1 for graduate employment in Ireland. And as I said, we put a lot of resources and a lot of investment into making that happen, both working directly with our students, as I said, and, building and sustaining those strong industry and corporate links that we have. Just very quickly, as a university, we want to develop skills that employers want. So because we have close connections with employers and with industry roles, trying to find out, what are employers looking for? What's the next thing? How can we, tailor our programs to match what the expectations and the needs of the economy will be? So, we have a lot of, we actively input into, tailoring our programs to match the industry needs at a given point in time, in terms of over a couple of years. We always want our graduates to appreciate different cultures. As I said, Dublin is a very international city now. And as you can see from the companies that are based in Dublin, a lot of the big tech multinationals, it's imperative to be able to work effectively as part of an international team, a multicultural team. So that's something that we, inculcate in all our graduates, that they can, actively and effectively work well as part in a multicultural team. And again, most of our cohort, our demographic, should I say, in Smurfit, we have 60% international students and 40% Irish students. So, there's a big emphasis on, developing working amongst lots of different cultures. And as I said, critically, that's even more important outside of the academic world and into the business world. We expect people to learn critically. It's a graduate school, everybody's an adult. We don't spoon feed our students, but we do expect them to, to come to class when they're expected to come to class, to do their pre-reading, to do research, to have a bit of, to use their initiative, essentially. We're always there to support, but, we do expect input from the student side as well. And then just in terms of the MBA, again, to go back, that, the big point of the MBA is to develop, effective, global leaders. So that's a big emphasis, essentially. And then just to finish up, this is one of our MBA alumni, Jasmine Westbrooks. This is a testimonial from Jasmine. Yes, you can see, just as an example, she's working in corporate strategy and associate manager at Accenture. She was one of our graduates in 2021. And it's basically a few lines on, how her career was pivoted. And now that's where she is. She's in the corporate world and she didn't originally come from there. Jasmine's testimonial is one of a couple of testimonials that we have on the website. And again, what I would say is, if you're coming, I don't know, from a specific country or a specific sector, and you'd like to, connect with one of our alumni that, might be able to give you an insight that you can identify with, we're very happy. I'm in admissions, just contact me and I'm very happy to introduce you to, relevant alumni that you'd like to have a chat with, and, ask the questions that I mightn't be able to answer directly, Then just very quickly, actually, Yola, I'm going to pass this over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm right. So thank you so much. So welcome everyone. Again, these webinars are always so exciting to engage with the incoming students. There's loads of always a lot of enthusiasm from prospective students, and thank you for all the thumbs up again. So basically what I would like to say to you is that there's a lot of support for the incoming students. We have 5 global centers. These are UCD offices based all over the world. On top of it, there's another layer. So there's support for students who arrive. Prior to arrival, you'll have access to a program manager, to myself. I support international students in relocating to Ireland. So during the spring and the summer, I will be having a lot of live sessions, and there'll be emails. I have a wonderful handbook which guides students in terms of relocating to Ireland. We will also have kind of Q&A sessions. They'll be live as well. So there'll be loads of ways to engage. So again, if you have any questions about moving to Ireland, if you're wondering, how it's done, when to start, all this information will be directed to you in timely manner. Probably be starting around March, late March, and every year we start earlier and earlier because people are more and more keen to kind of get a place to live and to kind of get themselves settled and then just book a ticket and fly and come over. But anyway, going back, I don't know if I can get the presentation back on screen. Not sure. I think if I just double click, I just wanted to show you. Thank you so much. The next slide, just to mention, some of you might be aware of the 2-year stay back visa. So this is basically working rights permission for graduates of the UCD Smurfit School of Business to stay in Ireland. So those of you who are holders of non-EU passport are entitled to apply for the permission to stay 24 months. So initially it's 12 months. And after 12 months, you just extend the permission to stay and look for a job. It's not linked to a particular job. You can just apply for it immediately after getting your results in September. And you can start looking for jobs. It's like a blanket permission to stay and to work in Ireland. It's like a bridging between you being a student and getting a work visa with a company of your choice. So that's really all from me, just giving you kind of a broader picture to say we're here to support you if you're kind of coming from quite far and you're don't know how things work in Ireland. We're here to help you and welcome you very warmly as well. So I'm going to hand back to Mairead and we'll talk to you later. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Exciting. So we'll have maybe see if there's any questions later towards the end, but I'm going to hand back to Mairead. Thank you, Mairead.
Thank you, Yola. So just very quickly, guys, to just run through how to apply and what are the criteria for the MBA. Firstly, you do need a university degree, a previous, university degree, an undergraduate degree. It doesn't have to be in business. It can be in any discipline. Most of our graduates do not, or most of our students do not have a business degree when they're doing an MBA. You need an absolute minimum of 3 years professional experience, working in ideally, I don't mean a well-known company, but like a stable company that I could look up on a website or look up and see their website and know that they're valid, if that makes any sense. The 3 years experience should not include internships or part-time jobs or, short contract jobs, that kind of thing. This is important. You need a competitive GMAT score or an executive assessment score. Now, we do require the GMAT. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. It's an exam that's needed for many business schools around the world, but it is also recognized by employers. So it's worth doing and it's valid for 5 years. So, if you put it on your CV and your score, employers will look at it as well. You could also do the executive assessment. It's a shorter test. It's not quite as onerous as the GMAT, and that's just as valid from our point of view. In terms of getting a scholarship, if you get a very strong GMAT score, it's very likely you'll get a significant scholarship. So it's worth investing some time in terms of the preparation. It's believed that you need between 10 and 12 weeks preparation for the GMAT test. We do offer online tutorial classes. Now it's Irish time on a Thursday, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. With our tutor, Rowan Hand, who's excellent. And, we get such positive feedback in terms of the students who attend his tutorials, because he makes it very manageable and he gives you an insight into how to approach it and how to optimize your score, essentially. But there's pre-recordings of all those sessions. So again, please reach out, contact me. And if you want to look at those sessions or indeed attend live, if you can, in terms of where you're based, please do so. But that's a free resource, again, that we offer in order to help you to achieve the highest score that you can on the GMAT. Then coming down just to the application, you need 2 recommendation forms. It's really straightforward. You just put in the person's email address and from our portal, it goes directly to them and they send it directly back. So you don't have to go around collating it. Obviously, you need to ask the person and tell them to expect the request that they're going to get, but it's not something you need to go to a lot of trouble about. If you don't come from an English language speaking country, you do need a language test unless you have done your undergraduate degree in an English speaking country. So we take obviously IELTS, the IELTS language test, or Duolingo. I don't know, but some people have told me Duolingo is a little bit easier, a little bit better to do. So as I said, we'll take either essentially. You need to complete the application form. It's all online. There's a couple of essay questions where we ask you, you know, what have you done to date and how do you see the MBA affecting your career going forward? Why do you want to do an MBA? And then you need to attach a current CV. Now, that application comes in to me, I review it, and then, you know, if you're matching all the criteria, I'll invite you to an interview over Zoom, and then we'll, you know, just go through again why it is you want to come to Ireland, to Dublin, to UCD, what you're hoping to achieve out your MBA. I'll ask you a little bit about your leadership skills or leadership experience that you have. And then I'm obviously there it's a two-way interview in the sense that I'm there to answer any specific questions you have or help you with any aspect of the application that you're not sure about. So I'm conscious now of time, so I'm going to move this on. Oh, sorry, guys. This is just an example of some of the scholarships that we award every year. So there's lots of different scholarships, as you can see. So we have an entrepreneurial scholarship, we have different sports scholarships actually. The GMAT scholarships tend to be awarded to the full-time class, to be honest with you. So again, I'd emphasize again, if you can get a really good score in your GMAT, it's highly likely that you qualify and be awarded a significant scholarship. But again, there's an EDI scholarship, there's Women on the MBA scholarship, we have a regional merit scholarship, which is not listed there, but there's lots of scholarship opportunities. And now to probably the more interesting part, we're going to talk to two of our current students. So we have Yun Chen and we have Timmy Oi. So guys, do you want to, you're unmuted there, are you? Can you hear me, Yun?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi there. Yeah. So hi guys, thank you. So we're going to start off just really quickly, I think, and ask the really basic question of why did you choose UCD and why did you come to Smurfit?
So yeah, for me, I mean, MBA is always like something I am always considering. I was actually working in Europe, so I'm not like very unfamiliar with Europe. I know cities like Paris and the other European cities and countries. But then when I considered my MBA, mainly I focus on the European universities. And my criteria would be because I live in countries like without not English as a mother language. So I found like a little bit difficult to melt in the culture locally. So like I narrowed down to the countries like English speaking, and then I have only UK and Ireland. And also after I make some research, I'm actually attracted by the reputation of UCD. And that's why like I chose the UCD MBA program. Yeah, that's how my decision was made.
Very good, thank you. And you, Timmy?
Thanks, Mary, for the question. For me, basically, it was a strategic decision, short term, long term. My goal basically is have a small startup. I'm working on the side, and I felt, based on my long-term goals, and also I kind of like wanted to dissociate myself from my previous, role. Kind of like felt it's time to get out of my comfort zone so I can be able to see things, from a different perspective in alignment with my long-term goals and short-term goals. But more specifically, UCD gives me all the tools, and I need, not just within the class modules. My time here, I've realized there are also frameworks within the UCD institution as a whole that we can utilize to wrap around our goals and scale pretty much whichever direction you have set for yourself. But the most important thing is you have to know why you're here, and once you get that defined, I think you need the platform to move up the ladder wherever you want to go to.
Thank you guys. And can I ask you both, how did you find it culturally integrating with the other students? How was it, that experience when you came to Ireland?
For me, it was business as usual, but nothing that new because I've been a consultant. I've worked in Europe. I've worked in Canada, the US, and it was just business as usual. But the key thing is you must be open. If you have that mindset, everything is just kind of like easy peasy from there. But it's all natural, organic, nothing major around that. It's just fantastic, in my opinion.
Very good, great.
Yeah.
And Julian?
Yeah, for me, I appreciate like our class is only like 32 colleagues in my class, and also like from sector or like work background wise, we could, in my class we have like journalists from a national media in Ireland, and also in my study group I also have a doctor, and also
Yeah.
like, within the cohort we also got like officers working in the UN. So it's kind of very variety background students we are having now in our cohort. So what I could see as Timmy, I mean, we are same, like because we are not unfamiliar with working with people from different culture, but then working with people from different like working background, that would be something challenge. But it was also something like we could learn from each other. So it's very beneficial. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in terms of the MBA, as you know, I was discussing, it's over a year, so it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
How are you managing your time? You know, how is it structured in terms of how you can manage your time, or how is life when you're doing the MBA? You know, just take me through kind of a typical week, or, you know, how it is.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's the key element, one of the key elements, actually. I believe everyone will, as an outcome from their time at UCD Smurfit, is time management. In terms of prioritization, those are skills that are kind of like undervalued, but with your time here, I can assure you you have to be on top of your game in terms of time management, and with that you set yourself up for success pretty much. Again, prioritization, know what you want, prioritize, execute, find time for yourself, kind of like that cycle, and obviously the end result is success, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Very good. And Jen?
Yeah, for me, I still remember vividly, like 3 months ago, I arrived in Dublin. And right after I settled, like within the weekend, and the foundation week started. And after the foundation week, I mean, we had 7 courses in one semester. It was actually quite intense. I mean, and the course is only 20% of what you're experienced. And then we have also group work, case study, and also as Marie mentioned just previously, we also have a lot of work within like the career development. We have like career coaching section. We also have like a program to improve our presentation. We also go to our potential employer to visit their company to talk with them. So we have, and also we have like, I experienced like twice the career fair as well. So we have a lot of things, like very packed. So my suggestion would be like before or during the process of the MBA, we have to know clearly what is our goal and what we really want to get out from the program. So when we have something we really want, we know what we need from the program, so we can be more prioritized. Yeah.
So a lot of managing different priorities and keeping on top of things, and being aware of what needs to be done when. I can imagine. Guys, just in terms a little bit about Dublin or life in Blackrock. What's been the highlight of moving to Dublin? What have you enjoyed, or what has anything surprised you? You know, that you weren't expecting in a good way. We'll ask.
For me, great question again. Thank you. Dublin has been everything I have envisaged in terms of the culture, the people, friendly. Compared to other major cities, it's kind of like very safe. the greenery is phenomenal, and the college itself, it's kind of like max 10 minutes walk from the sea. So a lot of cafes if you're like into the social scene as well. It's just it's a multicultural city to be perfectly honest, and it's just if you're the fun type, good for you. If you're the slow type, it's a spot for you as well. But all in all, fantastic A plus in my opinion.
Yeah, for me, I would say
Very
like
good. Thank you.
yeah, Black Rock is quite very quiet and very suitable for like calm down and study. And I went to Belfield as well, but like comparatively, I prefer like the environment in Black Rock because it's kind of a place you can calm down and focus on your study. And as what would surprise me the most, I would also say like the friendliness of the Irish people. I mean, the friendly and the politeness is not something like I can describe to you, but I can give an example. Like when you ask for maybe a guidance on the street, they will not just point to you like that was the direction you have to go, but they will guide you and lead you to the place you have to go. So that was kind of the degree of friendliness of the Irish people. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I found out from the Black Rock campus.
That's lovely to hear. We're very pleased to hear that. And then I'd like to, as I said, I'm conscious of time with everybody, but I would like to ask you both about your GNAM week. Now, in actual fact, I didn't mention that earlier during what I was talking about the curriculum, but just for those of you who don't know, UCD is a member of GNAM, and that's there's 31, or Smurfit is a member, should I say, 31 business schools around the world globally that we work in kind of cooperation with. So every year, our MBA class, every student generally goes to one of the other schools. They switch over for a week, and that happened in October. So I'm just going to ask Timmy and Yun where you went to, how you found it. What value was it to you as an exercise, essentially?
For me, I went to the Lagos School of Business in Lagos, Nigeria, and there was strategic reason behind that. Like the alluded to earlier, I have my own small business. I kind of like want to make inroads into the EMEA region, and in Nigeria, at the Lagos School of Business, I met a lot of MBA students from Yale, for instance, from Oxford. And locally as well. But the key thing from my trip to Nigeria was the site visits. For instance, I met the CEO of one of the top security banks in Nigeria, and I had one-to-one conversations with him. I kind of like related to my goals in terms of my plans, from a business perspective, and he was like, "Well, this is my card. Just come back to me whenever you're ready." It was fantastic. All in all, the folks I met there, it's not just goodbye. It was kind of like, see you soon again. Kind of being like a family. I developed while I was in Vegas, pretty much.
Sounds great. And Leon?
Yeah. So for me, I went to Berlin, Germany. And it was also a strategic decision because I took the MBA. Mainly, I want to shift my my sector or my industry and pursue a career in finance sector. The program was taught in the ESMT in Berlin was sustainable finance. And that was the topic or the program or the subject I'm very interested in. And that's why I chose the program other than the country. But then after joining the program, besides we learned theoretically like what is green bond and how companies they applying the ESG in the company, but also we got the chance to talk directly with the companies. Like we talked with the finance board from DHL in Germany. So we discussed about like what are their strategy towards ESG and towards the 2050 goal to meet the net zero target. So it was very like it's not only theoretical program, but also we got a lot of practitioner experience and experience from the managers. And the most value for me, I would say like the people I met there, because people who chose the program in Germany, mainly because they also have interested in the finance sector. So most of them, they got like the education background from finance or working experience in finance sector. So I got plenty experience talking with them and exchange ideas. So I feel it's a very treasure and a very good experience for me.
Very good. And I'm keen to move on just in terms of time. So I just want to thank you both so much again for joining us today. And another just aspect of the international aspect, should I say, to the MBA. Every year our class goes away to a different country. I think last year they went to Italy and to the Czech Republic. And I believe, guys, your class is going as part of your international business module, going to meet companies in Singapore in March, I think. Is it next year?
Yeah,
exactly. Correct.
So that's exciting as well.
It is.
Yeah. So that's another thing. That, there's a little bit of travel involved in our MBA program. So once again, thank you to all of our panelists. And Luke, if there's questions, if we can do the questions and answers now, that would be great.
Yes, indeed. Okay, great. Well, let's go over to the questions that we have received already. Indeed, due to time, we are going to speed it up a little bit. A lot of questions have been answered, actually, and that's the great news as well. We had a staff member in the back working on it and answering a lot of questions. So we will pick out some of the questions just because they might apply to everyone. But also do feel free, please mute yourself, Tim. Thank you. Just to make sure we answer some of those questions. Okay, question from Adi. When is the final date for submission for the GMAT course?
Basically, you can apply, you can make your application without your GMAT score, and we can give you a conditional offer based on when you get your score. But we would need it at the latest, probably by next June. However, what I would say is we would encourage everybody to do their GMAT as soon as possible, because, you know, getting it out of the way, getting organised, knowing where you're going is, I'm sure, important to everyone. And also, just to restate that if you get a really strong GMAT score, you're much more likely to get a significant scholarship. So there isn't, there's still plenty of time to do your GMAT, but we'd encourage it to be done sooner rather than later. But because you haven't got it done, do not let that stop you applying. Please apply. Okay,
thank you very much. Let's go over to the next question. That was the question actually from Astrolink about the different roles that the corporates are looking for. Do read that answer at the Q&A, please, at the question box, sorry. About the application fee waiver that Mohamed was asking for. So that actually is not included in this. So there are, however, scholarships. And that was the next question we received from Chetan. So there are a wide range of scholarships available. I will pass the link that was given by the staff member just to make sure in the chat, because some more students sometimes wonder about this. So just to make sure that everyone has that link, you can find it in the chat. All right. Right now. There you go. Okay. Vidant was asking, I have only 2 years of working experience. Am I still eligible for the MBA in UCD?
Probably not quite at the moment. By next year, that this person will have 3 years experience, but you really need to have 3 years when you're applying. But, so I would say just build on that, just do another year. And then by all means, please apply next year for 24-25. And even at that stage, by the time you come, you will, 25-26, you'll have 4 years. It's an absolute minimum of 3. It's probably more likely 5, really, at a minimum. So as I said, it's just about the level and depth of experience that you have in terms of being able to contribute to the class, in terms of, as I said, that peer-to-peer learning. That's very important to us, and it's a standard that we really do adhere to.
Okay, thank you very much for letting us know. Next question from Pamela, asking for international students, is the eMBA a suitable program regarding visa requirements?
No, unfortunately not, simply because the Irish government doesn't issue visas for part-time study, and the EMBA is it's a part-time program. It's the MBA program, but it's over 2 years. So in terms of getting a study visa and then getting the 2-year stay-back visa, it only applies to the full-time MBA. Unless maybe you're working in Ireland on a critical skills, visa already, and you can get what they call a stamp 4. If you qualify for stamp 4, your nationality might be Chinese or Japanese. But if you're already working in Ireland and you have this particular stamp, you potentially could qualify for the EMBA. But if you're coming from outside to study, you won't get a study visa for the EMBA.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question from Chetan. Do you need both IELTS and the GMAT scores, or is either one fine?
There are two very separate tests. So the IELTS score is specifically a language test. And as I said, we're an English-speaking country, Ireland's an English-speaking country, so it's very important that your English is at a certain level, just to make sure that your learning ability and ability to do the MBA or do a master's, you can do it essentially. But so that's a language test. You are exempt from a language test if you've lived in an English-speaking country for more than 5 years, or indeed if you have done your undergraduate degree in an English-speaking country where it's been taught through English. But other than that, you do need your IELTS test. The GMAT test is something very different. It's a graduate management advanced assessment test, and it's specifically for business schools. So it's, I suppose you'd call it a logic test, an intelligence test. It's made up of 3 specific sections. There's a verbal section, there's a quantitative section, so it's quite mathsy, and then there's an integrative logic section. So it's not a language test. The IELTS is a language test. The GMAT is a test to get into business schools, and it's kind of a logic test. That's what I would say.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answered that question. Next question, what is the average work experience of a candidate?
The average, on the full-time class, it's approximately 7 years professional experience. That's what most of the students on average have, 7 to 8 years experience. So in terms of the age group, you're looking at probably average age is something around 28.
Okay, thank you. Arup was asking, apart from the MBA, if I apply in any other course, such as a master in data science, will it have any negative effect on my MBA application?
No, not at all. Not at all. Absolutely, you can apply for a master's course and an MBA course, and depending on how your application goes, you might get the 2 offers and then you might decide, or one, you might just choose, or you might get one or the other. So, but 100% you can apply for a master's and an MBA.
Okay. Question that came in, let's see, from Sia. What's an acceptable GMAT score?
That's a good question. The GMAT has actually changed. So there was a GMAT exam where the total potential score was 800, and you needed to score 600, so 600 out of 800. Now, just last month, GMAC, who administered the GMAT, introduced a new exam. I mean, it's very similar. It's actually just shorter. So it's 3 hours instead of 4 hours. And the calculation of the score has changed as well. So I don't want to be quoted this because I need to check it, but I think you need to get, actually my colleague Alistair,
I can give you this because I just put it in the chat there. So yeah, because as Murray quite rightly says, the testing scoring has just changed. So where it used to be a minimum score of 600 on the GMAT Classic, that's 565 on the new GMAT Focus. And then so for the average, so if you wanted to know what the average GMAT score, where it used to be around 646 or mid 600s, that equivalent would be 595 or about 600 on the new test. So the testing, the scoring has changed. So that is on the website. So that's good to check with, just to make sure it has just changed there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Alistair. Really appreciate that.
Yes, you heard Alistair, who was working at the back for us. So thanks for having answered that. Yes, he was busy answering questions in the Q&A. So there you see more answers that have come in. I think one was skipped, was the deadline for the GMAT. When is the deadline for GMAT if interested in the global scholarship?
Again, there's no deadline per se. You'd need to have done your GMAT by next June. So that's June of 24 to get into the, to start in August of 24. However, if you're really keen on getting a scholarship, the sooner the better. So we would encourage you to do your GMAT sooner rather than later. Ideally, maybe at the beginning of next year, and then you'd be considered for a scholarship straight away based on a really good GMAT score.
Okay, thank you. Adeb was wondering about the starting salaries after the MBA. It was given that, it depends a bit per industry perhaps, but do you have any indication for them, for Arup and also others?
It depends. It really does depend on the sector, and it depends on the person's previous experience. But, you could be looking at anything from €55,000 to probably €80,000. It's probably more of a range, and again, it depends on the position, it depends on previous experience, and it depends on the company. But, as I said, I would be conscious to say to people that an MBA doesn't, guarantee you a salary at a certain level straight away. But it certainly is a huge building block in terms of, elevating your career on a certain trajectory. And as one of the students told me last year, that an MBA doesn't guarantee you access to, say, the boardroom, right, and to sit, be a director. But if you don't have an MBA, it can keep you out of the boardroom, put it that way. So it's very much, something that gives you access to other opportunities, but it doesn't guarantee you anything in that sense. But it definitely, people who do an MBA and have that commitment and dedication and are willing to invest in themselves in terms of, as I said, the money, the financial side, the time, the commitment, moving country, they're generally very serious people and they have a plan. And those kind of people with lots of support and a pathway will achieve their goals. And that's what we find from our graduates.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're getting to the last question. Let's see, we had one more. So Chetan was asking about the professional recommendation. Should it come from the current employer, or is it also valid from a previous employer?
Either is fine.
Okay, and just to add to that, given by Alistair, was actually also recommended is to give one academic reference and one professional reference.
Ideally, yeah.
Just two.
Yeah, but we would accept two professional references as well, if for whatever reasons it wasn't possible to give an academic.
Yeah. Okay. And at this stage, we have answered pretty much all questions. We're already getting thank yous from the audience, I see, so that's good to hear, and great to see that you found it valuable. That's what we do it for. And having said that, I have a last question from the audience. I'd like to know from you how we did. So I'm going up to open up a little poll. There it is. Paste it over your head, Mayuri. Sorry about that. But let us know how we did. We'd like to hear from you. If you haven't asked the poll yet, please do so before you leave. We appreciate your feedback. And with that, we will round off the session. From my side, I'd like to thank everyone that has joined, especially the audience members, of course. We hope you find it useful, and maybe see you next year in Dublin, who knows. And also all of the speakers. Thank you, students. So Leon and Timmy, thanks a lot for your time. I know it was appreciated, and your input is always very valuable for other students. And Meyrad and Jola, thank you very much for your input. Maybe a last word over to UCD. Meyrad, you want to say something to finish?
Luke. First of all, Luke, thank you for facilitating. Thank you so much to both our students, Lynn and Timmy. Thanks to my colleagues, Gillian and Alistair and Yola. And above all, thank you, the audience, for joining today. We really appreciate it. We understand everyone's very busy and taking the time out. And just to be clear, just contact us at any stage, reach out, and we provide a really, intense service in terms of being available for you for any one-to-ones or anything that you need that we can help with to guide you through the application process or coming to Ireland. So have a great evening or day wherever you are, and we hope to see you in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.